It's 7:15 on the dot on Fox 19 now. First Alert Meteorologist Brad Maushart. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it to the end of another work week, and I don't want to keep you waiting here. We got a good-looking sunset getting ready to happen. Hold that thought. Hold, please. Hold, please. Hold, please. It'll go into play mode any second now. All right, let's try that again. What a great sunset. It only took 5 seconds to get that going. Sunset time tonight, 7:28 officially, so it's on its way down. It'll be down here within the next 15 minutes or so. Nice sunset, and don't forget, we have a comet that you'll be able to spot once that dusk gets a little bit darker out there, closer to 8 o'clock or so. But it's a narrow window, about 8 to 8:30. We'll have several opportunities to check this comet out, running all the way through October, but tonight's nice. Tonight is nice. Because we don't have much of a moon out there, just a little crescent, so that the sky will be dark enough, and hopefully, once your eyes get to adjust out there, you're in a dark enough spot, you'll get to see that here on the western horizon. It's going to be well to the right of the moon, just to the left, as you're looking west here towards the sunset of Mars, and you'll be able to spot that little red dot down there. So that's what you're going to be looking for. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second. Let's talk about right now. It's 76, not a bad night to do some stargazing. 76, nice north wind will help it keep us high and dry. And again, that sunset time, 7:28, just about 10 minutes from now, 12 minutes from now, if I could add, 12 minutes from now. Today's weather number, brought to you by no one, unless you want to be a sponsor of the show, 2.26 inches, and that is the amount of rainfall with our little last bit of rain we've seen the last couple of days. That is our rainfall total for the month of September, and it should be a little bit higher because we just have, 4 days left to record some data here, and all 4 of those, except for Monday, look to be dry. Monday's our next chance, Tuesday is the 30th. Just Tuesday is our last chance to see just a slim chance for some showers out there. A lot depends on what happens in the tropics. Of course, we're going to be talking about that as well. If you have any interest down in the Carolinas, stay tuned, because it's not looking great down that way. We'll talk about that and how it might impact our weather here coming up in just a second. So we should, all time, see about 2.8 inches. That goes all the way back to the 1800s. More recent times here, the 30-year average is about 3.17 inches. So we've started getting a little wetter through the month of September. Still our driest month, though, and almost a full inch off. Here's how we started our Friday. I don't need to tell you if you had to go out and hit the road this morning, or even late last night. We had some fog settling on down. You can see it here in this image off to the right side. Settled down right into the river valley. Definitely slowed things down. You can see some of that fog trying to roll over Mount Adams this morning. But it lifted out of here. We were on our way to a really nice day. Just a few fair weather clouds drifting on through. Great afternoon. Temperatures topped out today in the mid to upper 70s in most spots. Thank you, Darla. I am having a great Friday, and I will have an even better one here soon after I eat. Then it'll be a fantastic Friday. No issues out there otherwise for the rest of this weekend. As I told you, I promised you, that was it. Once we got past the fog this morning, we're going to be on our way to a really nice weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. And, I don't know how many more nice weekends we're going to get for fall, because it is pretty much a straight downward shot from here to winter in most cases. We should be topping out only in the mid-70s by this time of the month. By mid-October, I think it's like the mid-60s. So, it's going to cool down quick. Enjoy these warmer days while you can. 80s in a lot of spots Saturday and Sunday. Not only that, we have high pressure off to the northwest. We're on the good side of this high. What that means for you is it winds around that high spin in a clockwise direction, right? If you follow that wind, it's coming right off the Great Lakes. That means we are going to see some cooler, dry air, or at least some dry air. Still going to be warm because high pressure is sitting over top of us, but dry. So 80s, feeling like the low 80s. Really nice forecast. Same for you, JD, up in Canton, Ohio. I'm doing great. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Tomorrow morning, maybe a little crisp up in Canton. But no weather problems all weekend. That goes for everybody here in the Ohio Valley. No issues thanks to high pressure. Now, high pressure, it's kind of been a blessing and a curse for us the last couple of weeks. It's kept us mostly dry. And that's where we started running into these drought-like conditions, right? The drought monitor came out. Let me see if I have this graphic ready to go in here. Maybe. Let's see. Where are you? If I was the drought monitor, where would I be? No. Oh, I should have pulled it up before. Here we go. Let's see if this is updated. It is. All right, so all the rainfall we saw the last couple of days, They update this drought monitor every Thursday, but they stopped taking data for it to compile it all on Tuesdays. So the last couple of days there, the rain we saw Tuesday and Wednesday, it's not factored into this, so we should see a little bit of improvement. But still, a lot of the tri-state here still dealing with moderate drought-like conditions. Adams County there, the southeastern sliver, still dealing with severe drought-like conditions. The really only improvements we saw out there on this were up in our northeasternmost communities and just a little sliver of Carroll County. That was it. And we're not going to get much relief. Again, high pressure settling on in. That's going to keep a lot of the rain away. And it's going to act like a protective barrier next week. It's going to act like a brick wall there Tuesday and Wednesday. It's going to try to keep what at that point will be left of Imelda, new tropical system. It's going to kind of corner it down in the Carolinas. That is why that is not going to be good, next week. That's going to be a problem because that's going to lead to a lot of flooding down there. We could use some of the rainfall, but it's going to keep our chances to a minimum and block that in the Carolinas. Speaking of, it is now potential tropical cyclone number 9. That's a fancy for they're going to investigate just a little bit more, and then they're going to start to probably give it a name either later tonight or early tomorrow as it slides out of Hispaniola just to the north of the leeward edge there of Cuba. It's going to start to push northward through the Bahamas and likely get trapped, as I mentioned, in the Carolinas. We also have Humberto earlier today, went to a Cat 3. That is a major hurricane. It will likely reach Cat 4 strength as it slides just to the west of Bermuda. So there's the track it's expected to take. Again, remember what you're looking at here is not the width of the storm. This is just anywhere inside that red cone at any given time is where the center of the storm could be. So it could be on the east side and pass to the east of Bermuda, or it could pass to the west of Bermuda or go right over top. The most likely scenario is going right down the center of this track, but again, they call it the cone of uncertainty. That's why. It's not the width of the system. You could still have impacts well outside of that. And what this particular cone over here, with what will be Imelda soon, and likely a Cat 1 before it makes landfall at least, when you see the cone kind of do one of these and bubble out at the end, it typically indicates that that storm is slowing down, and that increases the uncertainty of exactly where the center is going to be. But when it starts to balloon out like that, that is typically indicating it's slowing down, and that is not good news. Now, we're just a few days past, almost 1 year exactly, right, from having dealt with Helene and the impacts from that system through Appalachia and North Carolina, the Asheville area. This, if it gets trapped down there, will be several days of rain. And we saw what that did last year, and that storm didn't even get trapped down there. So we got to keep a very close eye on this. If you have interest, especially along the coast, those will be the areas impacted first by a hurricane. That's going to be a problem. And then the flooding is going to be a concern as we work our way into next week. So keeping an eye on that down in the Carolinas and the leeward edge here of Appalachia. Here in the tri-state, again, high pressure going to try to do its job there and keep a lot of this away from us, but Imelda could be a big problem down that way. So something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Let's see. My rain gauge said we got 3 inches in Fairfax. That is a lot of rain, and hopefully it helps with the drought. Hopefully it, greens up the lawns again. Might be too late for the leaves on the trees. A lot of those trees are still changing out there, so we'll keep an eye on that. Happy Friday to you, Darla. I responded to you already. I am having a great day. It'll be better when I eat. That's what I said earlier. All right, now that we're caught up here. Again, keeping a very close eye on this. It could go as far west and southwest as, Jacksonville. Could go as far northeast as Beaufort, North Carolina. So something to keep an eye on with this system, because still a lot of uncertainty, especially when they start to slow down, right? Because they can wobble and go all over the place. But for right now, here's how I think this is going to play out. And we'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to tell you that, and I'll have an image for that coming up in a second. Temperatures outside tonight, again, back here in the tri-state, no weather woes all weekend long. This is what I mentioned at the top of the show. Within about a half an hour or so, it's going to be dark enough. You're going to look off to the west, so right where the sun's going over the horizon right now. Look off to the west. It's going to be low on the horizon, so find a clear spot if you can. First thing you're probably going to spot is the crescent moon, right? A little sliver of the crescent moon over there. Far to the right of that, more so due west, right? You're going to be able to spot on the horizon probably Mars. And it's going to be a little red dot there close to the horizon. And in between, but much closer to Mars than it will be the moon, you're looking for our newest comet. They spotted this back on September the 11th. That was when they discovered it. That's how comets are pretty cool, because sometimes you just don't see them. We're not really expecting another bright comet until we get Halley's Comet, rather. That doesn't happen until like the 2060s, so a little ways away. So until that happens, we take every comet we can get. We had one a couple years back. We have this one, which is Comet 2025 R2, or SWAN. And the reports from people seeing this is that it is naked eye visible. Now, you're probably going to have better luck with a telescope if you're not in a super dark spot. You're probably going to have, better luck with binoculars at a minimum, right? I would try that first. Binoculars, find Mars, then just look a little bit to the left of it, and you'll probably be able to see this with the binoculars pretty easily. But the report from this that I've heard, which I think is kind of crazy, right? It has a very long tail. If you take 5 of the moons, right, and you'll be able to see the sliver of the moon out there in the western horizon, right? If you're holding your fist out, it should be about like 2 moons for like 1 fist as you're holding it out, trying to get a good eye on that. This is going to have like 2.5 fists of a tail. So it's going to be a really long tail. 5 moons length of a tail in the sky. Are you going to be able to see all that with your naked eye? Probably not. But you should be able to at least see the bright center there of the actual comet itself, if not the tail. Something to look for, and that'll be between about 8 to 8:30. Don't wait too long, because the later you wait there, the longer, the lower it's going to get on the horizon, eventually going over the horizon after 8:30. So closer to 8, probably your best bet. You might get lucky and see it by 7:45 or so. I'm going to take a peek outside and see what I don't see, but anyway, I'll even turn the camera around when the stream is done. Weekend forecast, no problem. Again, really nice weekend on the way, upper 70s, low 80s. Good for anything you want to do, including this. And just to be a marketer for FC Cincinnati, not that you needed an excuse to go. One, they're like second place for the Shield race, second place in all of MLS right now. But they're running a 5-1-3 deal. Now, the Reds had one a couple days ago. It was a 3-2-1. Probably should have went with a 5-1-3, but it's a 5-1-3 deal. That is $5 beers, and you're saying, well, the Reds beers were only $3. These are tall boy beers. These are the 16-ounce beers. So $5 beers. First off, great deal. You didn't need to get me down there anyway, but that's definitely got me sold. $5 beers, $1 waters if you're not a beer drinker, and then it is, $3 pretzels, soft pretzels. Come on. It's not going to get better than that. The weather isn't going to stink. Come on. Really nice for that on Sunday. Here's your Friday football forecast. Nothing. Saturday, nothing. Then we got double trouble down there in the Atlantic. And again, we've got to keep a really close eye on Imelda, because I'm afraid with high pressure settling in over the Great Lakes, Imelda is going to get kind of just trapped and sandwiched down there. Again, almost just exactly a year to the day from Helene. That was back on the 24th of last year, September 24th. So we're a couple days past it, but I mean, look at this. It's going to just sit there, and here's why. High pressure settles in over the Great Lakes. That is going to do its best to keep us dry. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll see a slim chance, maybe some of those outer bands try to get up here into the Ohio Valley, but high pressure are going to try to hold it down there, and you can just see that rain just continues and continues down there. It does not let up. Even by the time we hit Friday of next week, I'll zoom back out, you can still see, I mean, they're seeing moderate to heavy rainfall in the same spot. So I think it's going to be a big flooding concern. The wind is one thing, but when you have several days of tropical, we're not just talking rain. I mean, several days of rain is bad enough. This is tropical rain. It is just going to keep on coming, and it is going to be heavy. There will be a lot of it, and I think the flooding is going to be a real concern again for the Carolinas. So something to keep an eye on down there as we head into next week. For us, unless high pressure recedes a little bit, pushes a little bit farther north, or this storm has a little bit more momentum to push it further inland, our rain chances are slim. Best chances Tuesday, Wednesday. We calm down a bit on Thursday, and for high school football Friday. If that storm moves a little bit closer to us, we could also see some gusty winds. But for right now, I have it at worst breezy for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then another slim chance for some showers or Saturday, Sunday, Monday of next week. But again, just a slim chance. We need the rain. You can see how it's going to cool off the Carolinas the next 8 to 14 days down that way. But for us, it's still above normal temperatures, if not well above normal for us, which this time of the year is mid-70s. Overnight lows should be in the low 50s, so above that, and below normal precipitation. Again, above normal off the East Coast. That's not surprising. For us, below normal again. So we need some rain. We need some help. And Here, I'll show you the 10-day forecast here, and then I'm going to switch. Hold on, let's zoom in for that. After this, I'm going to kind of mute myself. Maybe I'll talk through it just because it might be weird. I'm going to show you this 10-day, which again is pretty boring for most of this. Slim chance for a shower there Saturday, Sunday next weekend for UC and the Bengals game. Not really expecting much in the way of rain for that. But we'll just keep the chance in there. Upper 70s again, really nice again for that next Bengals home game. Usually by this time of the year, we're sinking like a rock in the temperature department. So, another shorts game out there. Sunscreen necessary. Yeah, not a whole lot happening in this forecast for us. Some ups, some downs, but not a lot in the rain department. Don't forget, by the way, just a couple days ago, surpassed the 22,000 Glutton for Punishment mark on Facebook. I appreciate that. That's great. That helps me get out, when there is bad weather. It helps me get out the message to a lot more of you a little bit easier. So that's always nice. Don't forget I'm also on Twitter sometimes, which they call X now, and Call Me Brad on Instagram. You can find me there, more personal things probably on the Instagrams. And with that said, this is what I was kind of hinting at before, is that I'm going to go back to the camera, and maybe I'll do the downtown camera because that one has a pretty hefty zoom on it. But what I'm going to attempt to poorly do is see if we can't see this comet. And I think it might be too early, but I'm going to pull this camera up and bear with me while I try to manipulate it in real time. Hold, please. And if anybody ever has any, what I'm going to try to do is spot the comet in case you're tuning in late and figuring out what I'm trying to do with this. Let's see. Let me get the right camera pulled up. Bear with me. I wish I had some music, like some holding music or something. That'd be nice. All right, let's see. Sign it in. We're going to rotate the camera around. We'll get a nice sunset in here. Oh, you know what? As you can see, I've manipulated this camera many a times to know that that might be in the way. All right, well, we'll see what we can do. It's probably going to be too early for this, unfortunately. Because I don't see the moon, which I have a feeling is behind this tower somewhere. See if I make the wasps angry. Our wasp overlords. Let's give this a second. Let me see if I can try to judge this with my other app. Where that moon, or where the sun went down versus where this is going to be. So the sun went down basically due west, which is good. That means over here by this little cloud, right there to the right of the pole, should be in this area. That is where Mars should set up. And yes, you've probably guessed at this point, the moon is somewhere over here in this tower over in Fairmont. So, in theory, Mars should end up being over here somewhere, right? And we'll... Oh, that is not what I wanted to do. Oopsie doopsie. Sorry. Getting seasick here on the camera. I'm going to focus it a little bit farther. And I might wait on this. We might be able to see this comet. I don't think that is it. But I've been wrong before. Let's just try to zoom in and see if maybe that's it. I doubt it. Maybe I can get crazy lucky on try number 1. Probably not. No, I think that's a plane way off in the distance. Yeah, that's what that is. Well, we almost got lucky on the stream. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. I think that's a plane anyway. Yeah, it's a plane with just a little bit of a contrail there behind it, reflecting some of the daylight. That's why it's such a bright spot. All right, we'll give this a few minutes and we'll see, maybe. If not, I'll keep an eye on this. I might not leave the stream up that long because it's probably going to be closer to 8 o'clock before it's dark enough over here to see Mars or this comet. But if I see it, or if you see it, or get a picture of it on your phone, let me know. I think it's going to be too early for this for the stream, but maybe we'll get lucky later, closer to 8 o'clock. I'll try to see if I can get an image of this and share it to social media. I don't know if it's going to show up on this camera at all, to be honest, but we'll give it a go and try it out. How about that? I'm going to call this quits. It's a Friday. Don't forget we don't have a 10 o'clock show tonight because we got college football, and the show itself is on late tonight, like after midnight or so, after college football. So tune in then, catch the Friday, highlights, the sports for high school football, week number 6 for that. Sports team is out right now, out and about. They have 20 games? What a bunch of slackers. Only 20? Only 20 games they're going out to see. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you again next week, because I doubt most of you are going to stay up until 12:30 to watch the news. And even that, it's going to be too late. Either way, keep tuned through the weekend. Maybe to social media. I might have some stuff going on that just to see what's going to be happening with Imelda and to let you know how that might impact our forecast. But something to keep an eye on, especially if you have interest down there. Latest track, let's see, because now that it is a potential tropical cyclone, the earliest it could make a hurricane-type impact would be Monday or Tuesday. Right, so keep an eye on that through the weekend if you have the interest down there. You can start to see rain in the Carolinas. If you have a weekend trip, look out. You got some rain coming your way, probably some gusty winds. It is projected by Monday and Tuesday to be a hurricane down there in the Atlantic off the coast of the Carolinas. Maybe not a very potent one, but it doesn't even take a hurricane to cause problems. And like I said, I think the flooding will be a big issue there by the middle of next week. So something to keep an eye on there, and then we'll see how that impacts our forecast back in the tri-state. But for now, let's go back. Let's go back to the cross zoom. There's a good-looking late evening sunset there off to the west. Enjoy your weekend. It looks great. If you don't have plans, make some, or else. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll see you again here early next week.